I was inspired to write this book by my own changes as I grew up as a little kid.
So what inspired me to write Don't Be a Stranger? The short answer is my father. My father was my favorite person.
I wanted my girls to become familiar with the side lessons with their ancestry. And so it's a book that's very near and dear to my heart because I wrote it in memory of my wonderful daughter, Kate.
Hello, my name is Colleen. Welcome everyone to the Scottsdale Public Library's 4th Virtual Local Authors Book Talk. This is an opportunity for authors to share their books and passion for writing. In connecting the community to our local authors, we hope to showcase their talent and share their stories. Before we introduce our featured authors today, let us tell you a little bit about the local author collection at the Scottsdale Public Library.
The local author collection started in 2009, born out of the Eat Local movement, which encouraged people to buy and eat food harvested from their own community and reestablish a connection between the eater and the grower. In the same spirit, our local author collection showcases the literary, musical, and filmmaking efforts of our community and introduces library users to unique homegrown talent. The collection started with about 37 authors and now has reached almost 800 authors. On November 6, 2010, the Scottsdale Public Library hosted the first local author program called Write Local, a writer's workshop, leading to the creation of the local author book sale, which has become one of the library's signature annual events. Arizona residents of all ages are encouraged to submit their books, music CDs, and DVDs for consideration. You can find the submission form and more information at our website. Each of our 4 library locations holds a section of our local author collection, and holds can be placed on the items from our library catalog. We're so excited for you to meet some of these local authors.
Thank you, Michelle, for narrating a brief history of our local author collection. Each episode of our virtual local authors book talk centers on a theme, and today's theme is stories behind the stories. This is where the authors drew inspiration for their books from their own experiences or people who were dear to them. Featured books and authors today include Jody Sharpe, The Angel's Daughter, Alfreda Jonsdottir, Meldorca, Elicia Nademin, Don't Be a Stranger, and Vicki Riske, My Teeth Are Too Big. Let's see what these authors have to say.
Hi, I'm Jody Sharpe, and I write books about angels. I've written a series called Mystic Bay series, but my first book is called The Angel's Daughter, and it's a novel. And the main character is Hannah, and Hannah is a half angel. Her father is an angel and came down from heaven to save her mother's life, and her mother is human. And Hannah's loved flying all her life, and she's written stories about it. Well, Hannah meets and falls in love with her writing professor, and he becomes her ex-boyfriend when he gets mad at her because she won't go to New York City with him to live. And she's kept the secret safe all her life. But then, in a moment of weakness, she tells Sam her father is an angel. Well, he storms off and he writes a book, a novel, because he doesn't really believe her. A novel claiming that she's an angel. So the whole secret is out to the world. Well, the media descends upon the town, and Hannah just feels so bad about the whole thing. And she feels that she has no special qualities because she's just a half an angel, and she can't fly like her father. And what can she do? Well, she meets the love of her life, and she finally finds herself. She finds she has special tears, and there's so many themes in the book, and she tries to thwart Sam's effort and keep the secret safe. And that's the story behind the book. And it's a book about forgiveness and loss and love and redemption and hope. And so it's a book that's very near and dear to my heart because I wrote it in memory of my wonderful daughter, Kate, who died years ago. And so that's what I did. I decided to use hope, loss, forgiveness, redemption, and love, and write books about angels, because I really think I met one once, long ago, when I needed comforting. When my daughter died, I met a man who appeared as a human and talked to me, and he comforted me one day. And so that's where the idea came, for humans, angels living as humans in a town of Mystic Bay where nobody knows a secret. And I've gone on to write 2 more novels in this series. And that's the story behind The Angel's Daughter, a book very near and dear to me.
Hi, my name is Alfreda Jonsdottir. It's a pseudonym. My book is titled Melkorka, the Thrall Princess's Saga. The story is about human trafficking in the 10th century, and this human trafficking continues to plague society to this very day. Many children are lost forever. But my protagonist, a young Irish princess, somehow finds the strength and survives her horrific experience. This vivacious, talkative princess is kidnapped in Ireland by marauding Vikings, brought to Norway, sold to a Russian slave trader, who in turn sells her to an Icelandic chieftain named Hoskell. The trauma Melkorka experiences sends her in a deep well of darkness. She loses her voice. She becomes a mute. In fact, she just wants to die. Her symptoms sound very similar to PTSD, does it not? Because of all our vets, we know what that is, post-traumatic stress disorder. Many vets who witness a violent event come home broken. Some never return to normal. Melkorka's experience is very similar. She becomes a walking zombie. She's just existing. In fact, she just wants to die. After a few months in arriving in Iceland, though, she gives birth to a son. And the father, who is the chieftain, names him Olaf after his favorite uncle, Olaf Phelan. Lucky for this child, he is brought up in a loving home. In a home where his mother is the slave, but a loving home nevertheless. The birth of this child brings light back into the slave's life. Suddenly she sees a light at the top of a well of darkness, and slowly she emerges out of that darkness and finds her voice again, rediscovers it. But unfortunately, eventually, somebody's going to discover that she can speak, and the chieftain does that. Well, all hell breaks loose. His angry, jealous wife torments her more than ever. But Melkorka, something's changed. She begins to stand up for herself, which eventually ends up in a fist fight. That fight is the turning point in her life. Why tell her story? Originally, I wrote a short story mainly about Olaf, thinking my granddaughters would relate to him as a young boy with an odd nickname. He becomes known as Olaf the Peacock. I wanted my girls to become familiar with the sagas, with their ancestry, so I asked my neighbor Sandy to read it and tell me what she thought. Well, she was knocking at my door a few hours later telling me she loved it. She loved the characters and wanted more. So I added Olaf's mother's story to the mix. Who is Melkorka, the Irish princess, the slave girl? Sandy gave it to Sandy again, and she came back the next day and said, "Oh, need more? Love the characters." So suddenly I ran out of information, so I started making up characters. I did more research. I had to make sure that the kings on the throne and that time frame were authentic. I invented names, invented lots of characters. And so I was encouraged by her advice, obviously. But before I knew it, I had written a book. This was never my intention in the beginning. Malkorka, the Thrall Princess's Saga, is a work of fiction. Drawn on the Icelandic saga, the Laxdal Saga, is a story of love, hate, jealousy, and forgiveness. Mainly, it's a story of a mother's enduring love for her child and how she empowers him to become the man he does. He honors her by telling her story to his children, and they tell it to their children. And before you know it, the whole country is telling her story while they sit around the fires during the long, cold, dark winters. Even in the 13th century, eventually, it is written down. So her story continues. Malkorka is one of the few kidnapped girls not forgotten, not lost forever. Her story is over 1,000 years old, and we continue to tell it today. Tack vare.
Hi there, I'm Elicia Nademin, author of the book Don't Be a Stranger, Creating Connections and Memorable First Impressions in Everyday Life. And specifically, this book outlines micro skills on and strategies on how to position yourself, how to carry yourself in a way anywhere that you go to potentially create more memorable moments and opportunities for connection with whoever you happen to encounter in day-to-day life. So whether the purpose of reading this book is to feel more confident in your own skin, to engage more opportunities with others, to have more fun in life, to flirt more effectively, to date more effectively, marriage, enhance the just quality of longevity in relationships. Whether your goals are you want to be better at interviewing for job skills, or if you're a student and you're moving into the next phase of your education, or potentially starting a new job. So much of what is laid out in this book is really all about how to carry yourself in a way that you leave others with a more positive impression of you, and that you can be remembered in a more memorable way, which, if you think about it, if you're remembered for your first impression in a more memorable way, you are more likely to welcome more long-standing relationships into your life. And so that is the intention here. A lot of times, I think everybody absolutely needs and wants connection in life, even just for mental health, for physical health. Connection is essential. Feeling like you have a sense of belonging is critical to our health. That said, a lot of people tend to wait passively for somebody else to make the first move, or for somebody else to create that opportunity. So my challenge to you when you read this book is apply it. What inspired me to write Don't Be a Stranger? The short answer is my father. My father was my favorite person and always challenged me to share kindness and to treat everybody honorably, and to see every moment as an opportunity to bring light into somebody's world and to show compassion to others. And over the past several years with my business, I've come to really genuinely just see the kindness and support and generosity of strangers. And I also have found that a lot of people fear the idea of interacting with strangers. They wonder what would be the point, what would come of it for them, what could potentially go wrong, the pitfalls. And I wanted to help people see that there's a different perspective, that strangers are incredible, they're gifts, that you just never know how the next person you meet might change your life, whether it's for a moment frozen in time and a message potentially you needed to receive, or whether it's a relationship that would bless you for years to come. And so my hope with this book is that I can empower people to experience that blessing in a way where I get to honor my father every single day by saying, you know what, Daddy, I remember what you taught me, and I will always honor that, and I will always treasure and treat each person honorably as you did.
Hello, my name is Vicki Riske, and I'm an Arizona author. I write children's stories, and this is my third book, My Teeth Are Too Big. I wrote this book and I illustrated it. The main character in my story is Jackie Rabbit, and Jackie's had a bad day at school. The kids teased her about her big teeth, and she comes home crying to her parents. She wants them to do something about it. Well, they try to assure her that it will be okay, but It takes a magical ladybug to prove to Jackie that her teeth are unique and beautiful. I was inspired to write this book by my own changes as I grew up as a little kid. And I think teeth are a big part of how you change. It's probably one of the first changes you notice when you're going to grade school. You start losing your teeth, and pretty soon when they come back in, they might be just a little bit bigger than you want them to be. So I hope that you will enjoy reading my book, My Teeth Are Too Big. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stories Behind the Stories, presented by the local authors we featured today. Remember, all of the books and authors featured here are available at the Scottsdale Public Library. If you would like to become a part of our local author collection here at the Scottsdale Public Library, be sure to visit our website. We're always accepting authors to grow our local collection. And if you would like to check out a book written by a local author, please visit us at the library. Join us again on Friday, May 21st at 6:30 p.m. when we discuss memoirs written by our featured local authors. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you again.